Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another album review, and this time it's the Cats in Space. As many of you might know, I love this band. I totally love this band, and I've interviewed Greg Hart, guitarist and vocalist, a couple of times now. And in my most recent interview, I went through every single track on this album, and that was from listening to a stream of that album. And now I have the record and I have the CD. It comes with a classic Cats gatefold sleeve, fantastic artwork, and you wouldn't expect anything else from the Cats for it to come on absolutely stunning coloured vinyl as well. So what's it like? Do I like it? Well, if those of you watch me interview Greg, I kind of do like it. But now listening to it again and again and again, well, in fact, most days since I've been able to get hold of a copy, I just love it even more. You can see some Cat stuff behind me. This to me is the perfect antidote to the news at the moment. This to me is the music that it takes me back to the music that I got ready to go out on a Friday and Saturday night when I was a young teenager. It's that kind of music. And let's go forward a few years. It's the kind of music that I'd have on my Walkman when I was going to work on the bus or the train or the tube, whatever. It's the kind of music that I would use to celebrate events in my life, whether it was, you meeting Sue or the birth of my kids or whatever. It's the kind of music that I'd put on to celebrate and to lift my spirits. It's the kind of music that if I had a health scare and I had the results and everything was fine, I'd put music on this on to feel how lucky and grateful I am for what's going on around me. It's the kind of music, even if that was not the case, I'd think this is the kind of music that gives me hope and makes me feel absolutely awesome without swearing. So how does it fit in? Well, Kickstart the Sun, I thought, well, it was my album of the year, wasn't it? Last year, I think. I just thought, how are you going to top that? How are you going to top that, guys, really? And I feel that they have topped it. And this, I believe at the time we were doing this, the album is going to go into the British UK album charts, and I should do a separate video about that. This, to me, proves that rock music lives, and the Cats in Space aren't teenagers themselves. They've been around a bit, but my God, their whole attitude to life, their whole approach to just keep going, being consistent is incredible. The album kicks off with Time Machine. Yes, it does feature chords that aren't that far removed from The Who, from The Who's Next. Baba Riley, to be exact, and I know Classic Rock Magazine kind of pointed that out as well, but only in that it's a classic chord sequence. But after that, this is pure Cats in Space. It is. I put down here on my notes: Queen, ELO, The Sweet, City Boy, Boston, Styx, 10cc. Yeah. The Who, all of those influences are poured into this giant casserole pot that contains the music of Cats in Space, and it creates Cats in Space. It's kind of, I can't say, the chorus to this song, Time Machine, is one of those punch the air jobbies. I mean, it's a shame you have to be in a crowd to do that. I mean, maybe you should just hold your phone up in your own living room as you listen to this. Maybe there'll be a concert video at some point. I'm sure there will. The bass playing as well, the throbbing bass, the production, the drums, the middle eight section, which happens twice, so it's kind of two middle eights. The backing vocals, it's absolutely incredible. I've got to mention the guys. I've got to mention the guys as I go through this, because this is the kind of thing that I tend not to do, and I want to make sure that I do this. Damien Edwards, lead vocals. One of the best vocalists in the UK at the moment. His voice is just so moving to me, from ballads to rock songs and when I was talking to Greg, a lot of these things are done in one take. His interpretation of lyrics and how he channels into his own heart, how he feels and he sings on these things is incredible. Greg Hart, what a guy. Front of house in many ways, but fantastic songwriter. Stevie Bacon on drums. The drum sound on this album, and this is an album where they were all together. How many times do I talk to people who say, well, I don't say just dialed it in, but like they just dialed it in. They're in different parts of the world. They're probably not going to tour, whatever. I'm not trying to put that down. It saves on airfares, saves on hotel bills. But this way of all being together in a room recording rock and roll, fantastic drum sound, absolutely incredible. Dean Howard, electric guitars. There were some solos on here, and there's one in particular from Greg actually that are just really, really moving. Andy Stewart on piano and synthesizers, and basically creating the Cats in Space Orchestra, and Jeff Brown on bass. Because when I interviewed Greg, I kind of didn't mention Jeff enough, but the bass playing on this album is superb. And then there is Mick Wilson on vocals, Julie Maguire on vocals, PJ Cole on pedal steel, and Jack Birchwood on brass. All of those people have contributed to this. The next track in is My Father's Eyes. And I said in my notes here, this song is going to attach itself to so many hearts. I say that a lot, don't it? It really is, but it really is. I just felt this because as I've gone through life, and it doesn't matter how old you are watching this video or listening, this music is for you if you're 17. It really is for going. As I said, it's the album to get ready to go out on a Friday night. But my relationship with my dad, he died when I was really young, 25. But the way this is being written lyrically, and the whole idea of looking through your father's eyes at the world as you travel through it, and as I think now how I feel and all the things, it's exactly as I feel. And as I try and put into words what this song's mean to me, there are shivers going down my spine because of when I listened to it again this morning. This song is just incredible. I could just see people in the audience literally tearing up over this. Lyrically, it's just spot on, and the care and attention they've gone to capturing the emotive sense of how music can bring people together and to literally tap into emotions is just beautiful. The next one, which is called Crashing Down, is one of 3 ballad type songs on the album. It's about a sad breakup, but because it's the Cats in Space, it's full of hope. The guitar solo here, which I think is the one from Greg, is like a voice. And this is the other thing about this band. Everything serves the song, and loads of people say that. But for the Cats in Space, it is like theatre. It's like they put together little mini films for your senses, for your ears, and you close your eyes and you just create the visuals yourself. And the guitar solo on this song, and it moves into some twin lead as well, is just beautiful. I've put that what did I put on my notes here? Because I can't always read them. The vocals are just the backing vocals are just incredible, and the drums, the sound. So yeah, it's a ballad, but it's like it's like the Cadbury's advert with the gorilla playing the drums to "In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins. That's the drum sound. That's the drum sound. And then the next track, where was it? Occam's Razor, Not the End of the World, in brackets. This is one of my favourite tracks. It could be one of my favourite tracks of this year as well. it's a rock song. This is a rocker. It's rock and roll song. Absolutely powerful backing vocals, female backing vocals. There's a brass section on it as well. It just drives. It just drives. About 2.5 minutes in, it's classic Cats. They take it down, as they do a lot in their songs, to give you that kind of light and shade, and then boom, we're back up to the full, on the balcony of Hammersmith Odeon, or the Birmingham Odeon in my case. It's just incredible. It's so uplifting. And the guitar solo is a proper rock and roll solo. The kind of Mick Taylor from the Stones kind of solo, the kind of Chuck Berry double bent notes, distortion, proper rock and roll solo. And it works so well. I just smile from ear to ear. And then as we head towards the end, the female backing vocals go into overdrive, and we are in kind of Hollywood Nights live with Bob Seger territory here. This could just go on, and and I'd have to be careful and making sure I was obeying the speed limit in my car. But this is just fabaroony. It really is. The next one is another ballad, Forever and Ever. Had to be with the title of that, didn't it, really? It's a love song. It's beautiful. It's got a lovely 1970s synth solo as well. Again, it's about halfway point. It does what the Cats do. Again, woof. Just like having a cat on your lap that's purring away. There's these kind of like single note guitar solo. It's so gentle. It's so sparse. It's so well thought out. It's nobody in the Cats in Space is working on their own in saying, look at me. Collectively, they are the Cats in Space. Absolutely brilliant. Now, the next track, which is called, where are we? Run for Your Life, Ivory Anthem and Run for Your Life. I said when I spoke to Greg, because I'd only got the stream to listen to, I said, this track, Greg, is so good, maybe you should have opened with it. But of course, they'd already thought of that, because on the vinyl, it opens up side 2, and it's perfect. Because you remember those days, everybody, when everything was sequenced to be, you want to make sure you end the side 1 with a great track, and then you want to open side 2 with a great track, and you want to end with an epic. That is the world of vinyl. And the Cats in Space have done that. Of course, on the CD, you do have 4 extra absolutely amazing tracks. So basically, everybody, you need to buy both. But side 2, let's just do this. I put epic, and I just put, the only words I could put to describe this was the power of rock music. Maybe it was a bit like Foreplay by Boston, but it isn't really. But it's the kind of, it's throw everything at it to show what we can do as the curtains come up, which is why I kind of felt it was probably, you could have opened with this. Maybe they'll do the second set. It's just huge. Needs to be 5.1 as well at some point in the future. Anyway, moving on to Run for Your Life. God, this is good. This has got one of those chord sequences, riffs, where you might think, I know this. I do know this, but you won't know where it's from. You know that kind of, you know what I mean? It's that kind of guitar riff chord sequence. You think, I really love this, but I kind of must know it. You won't. But there are certain way that chords can be put together in the world of rock music where it has an almost magical effect on the human heart and of your feet, should you be sitting down. This is one of those tracks. What a riff. What a chorus. In my notes, I put exclamation marks about 10 times. The drum sound again. Incredible. But it is so uplifting. It's such a great track. It's got, as soon as I say something, you'll think, oh, it's like that, but it isn't. There's what's that? Saturday Night Special by Leonard Skinner. It's nothing like that, but it is. The way that the riff comes backwards and forwards from that song, the feeling, that kind of really uplifting riff that you think, oh, just please, just keep playing this, just doing that. It's like that. if you know what I mean. At about 4 minutes 36 seconds, to be precise, it drops right down for a bit, as again, Cats in Space tracks tend to do this. And then we make sure all the horses are ready and we start galloping off to the finish line as only the Cats in Space can. Great. Definitely one of my favourite tracks off the album. And then, because the other thing about the Cats in Space is they are a rock band, but they are not like any other rock band. And the next track, The Velvet Rush, is different. You know, I mentioned at the start, City Boy, 10cc, Supertramp. We're kind of bringing in some of that stuff now. But we're also bringing in something else that I'm glad I was able to identify when I spoke to Greg. Because what I wrote on my notes were, this reminds me of the TV series The Protectors from the 70s, one of my faves. It was John Barry, isn't it? What a song. And it is like that. It's almost as if they've tapped in to create this kind of 70s bit of, 70s kind of cop spy drama. But what a song. This is one of those songs that crosses over straight through the genres. Is it pop? Is it rock? Is it now? Is it then? It's great backing, such great imagination. It's a wonderful song. And there's another version of this on the CD later on, which hopefully might get them airplay in places where this kind of music doesn't get airplay. Yesterday's Sensation, which is next, does have a Supertramp feel. 10cc, Queen, great chorus, stunning vocals. And then the next one, Immortal. Absolutely very interesting chorus this, but I love this. I've got it nearby. And it is, what is it? If we're the last ones on earth, then let the music play forever. If we're the last ones on earth, let the music play forever. I just love that line. I love the whole song. It feels good, and it's got an absolutely stunning guitar solo on this track as well. And then we move on to When Love Collides. This is a ballad, and it's the last track on side 2 for those of you with the vinyl. And I can see why it's here. I thought this was absolutely beautiful song. And maybe because of the way that I journeyed through this album and to get to this point, because again, I have listened to it, the sequencing of it is just fantastic. And I'll be honest here, I did feel myself start to almost tear up over this song. Not so much necessarily lyrically, but the way it made me feel overall. Maybe because of what is going on out there in the big wide world, but also just where it took me into the past, into the future, into my heart, into my thoughts, into my feelings. I found it completely and utterly moving. And I know by saying that I'm setting it up so some of you are going to listen to go, well, don't get it. I don't think that will be the case, but I know I'm talking about how this record, CD, what it means to me. And I just want to mention Damien Edwards at this point. Hi, Damien. This has got to be Damien's vocal performance of his entire career to me. And I think I understand from what Greg said, he probably did it in one take. I just think the power and the emotion. I mean, this is a guy that, he could say whatever theatre, whatever the size of the stage. I mean, Damien and this band needs to be on the biggest stages. But this song, his vocal performance is off the scale. I can't think of any vocalist at the moment in the world of rock music, pop, who could do this with this amount of emotional intent. And if you're going to have a vocal performance like that, you really need a guitar solo that's going to match it. And there is one as well. So the album ends on vinyl with this track. And it's afterwards, you probably need to make a cup of tea, sit down and just, collect yourself. For those of you with the CD, which will be all of you because you'll have bought both, you then have 4 tracks, which I was going to almost start with the 4th one, but I'll do them in order. And these are 3 of Greg Hart's favourite tracks of all time. Greg is like a brother I never had, because these are 3 tracks that are some of my favourite tracks of all time. The same. And the first one is No Regrets, the Tom Rush track. This track used to play on family favourites in the 70s when my mum and dad were making a Sunday lunch, and I used to hear it wafting through from the kitchen into the living room. And I bought a copy of it not that long ago, actually, an original copy, because it brought back so many memories. And the Cats in Space have covered it. And Damien sings it just like Tom Rush at the beginning. It's like a faithful kind of homage to this beautiful track of No Regrets, of poor Tom Rush, who, singing this song about what it might be like to lose his girlfriend. And his girlfriend's on the front cover, and she does actually, in real life, leave him soon after. But that's another story. But then, of course, after this stage, Damien obviously then turns into Damien from Cats in Space, and we go poof into the stratosphere. So we go from this homage of what the song is into a completely unique arrangement of this song, where we take it into 2024 and beyond and turn it into an epic rock ballad with a great guitar solo and everything else, and the Cats in Space coming with thunderous drums and bass. And it's just absolutely exhausting. And what a cover version. It was so inspired that you think, what would be the best cover version that you could imagine the Cats in Space ever doing? Music by John Miles. And I love that song. I just love that song. And if it's going to be done by anybody, Cats in Space. And this version, anyone, listen to that. And I just think it not only will make you love the original song perhaps and go and seek out John Miles, but this version, and again Damien's voice and everything about the band, the keyboards, the orchestra, and the backing vocals for the Cats in Space. There's no other band that has backing vocals like this. I mean, there is no other band. And as I said when I reviewed the live album, they do it live. But here, they've built a theatre for the mind to take you on a journey into their world. It's just incredible. And then, of course, what is the greatest song that Slade ever did? How Does It Feel? My favourite Slade song, and it's played with respect. It's just great. 3 incredible cover versions that deserve to be on this record, and it's a great treat and bonus for anyone who buys the CD after you've bought the vinyl album, or you bought the vinyl after the CD. And then finally we have a remix of the track that I mentioned earlier, which was the Velvet Rush, and this is more bass orientated, obviously for trying to move into different markets. It's clever, and I hope it gets played. I hope it gets picked up, because it just deserves it. And the band are signed to Cherry Red, Esoteric. They now have proper backing, and all the other albums behind me hopefully will be available again soon on vinyl and CD. If you're new to the Cats in Space, could you start here? You must start here. This will lift your spirits. I say so many times that music is a healer and the doctor. These are some of the most powerful tablets you can take without a prescription. Cats in Space albums. But this one, Time Machine, to me, is the best thing they have done so far in their career. I can't stop playing it. It makes me feel great. And that's what I want from music now. I want to feel like I'm being taken somewhere. It's lifting me up. It's emotive. It stirs me. And it just makes me feel great. And this album does that. So thank you, Cats in Space, and all the guys in the band for creating this music, because it is fantastic and brilliant and well done, and the success we're seeing as it moves into the charts and for the tours as well. There are so many Cats in Space fans within our Spinning Magazine Facebook group and within our kind of network as well. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Buy it, it's on CD and vinyl. Remember, music is the healer and the doctor. Take care, all of you. Keep spinning those discs, and I'll see you all very, very soon.